Expedite, the pre-workout is designed to really help you get through those moments where you feel a little fatigued. Sometimes your body does get a little tired, you know, it gets a little sore. With this kind of stuff, picks you right back up.
That he got that love for the sport. That made him.
At what point did you see that turn for Mikey? Where because he always talks about how he never really saw himself going this far in boxing.
You know, coming back after the 2.5 years was what made us realize what Mikey could do and could accomplish in boxing. You know, this is one thing that obviously is not easy, but if everything goes as we plan, he's already, you know, that's already making history. But I don't think that would be the end for Mikey. I think Mikey will challenge himself to more challenges. Can't say bigger challenges because maybe this Errol Spence is the biggest challenge at welterweight. But you know, Pacquiao, Thurman, Porter, they're all great champions that could fight Mikey, and those fights could be made easily because they all fight for the same company. So Mikey would challenge himself maybe to be a undisputed champion, you know, one day at welterweight, which would be huge for us.
When Mikey was in that contract dispute and sat out, did he seem like it was boxing was a joyless thing for him at that point in time, that he wasn't having fun doing it?
Look, he wasn't having fun doing it before. Even, you know, becoming a champion at featherweight, at junior lightweight, he wasn't happy. He was, you know, winning titles wasn't a big deal for him. You know, now with his challenges, you know, moving up in weight divisions and challenging himself to fight the best welterweight, those are the challenges he wanted, and he wasn't able to do that with his promoter because, you know, they're in control. They pretty much choose who you fight. Mikey's choosing who he's fighting. Mikey chose Errol Spence, and he went after him, and he got it. You know, those are the challenges Mikey wants.
You know, Mikey sat out all that time in order to gain control of his own career, and that decision
was well worth it, man.
That decision is going to be judged by this Saturday.
Look, it was well worth it. You know, right now at the level where Mikey's at, you know, you could see other fighters that are fighting under a promoter, you know, that are not in control of their career. You know, Lomachenko, he can't choose his opponents. You know, Bob Arum is choosing them for him. Crawford can't choose his opponents. Bob Arum is choosing. You know, Bob Arum already has 2 or 3 guys lined up for Crawford. You know, Mikey could choose. Mikey chose Errol Spence, so that's why he went after him. Mikey chose Lipinets. That's why he went and won the title 140. Mikey's choosing his opponents because he's the only fighter that could do that. You know, obviously Canelo, he's so powerful in boxing and doing so good that, you know, he's also one that could call his shots. But, you know, Mikey's in control of his career and doing what he wants to do.
You could argue that Mikey's the only fighter in boxing that can make deals with anyone, any of the promoters.
Right now,
obviously,
yeah, Mikey could, but there's no need to go out and look for other fights when they're all here.
Like he could fight someone from elsewhere. I know. Obviously, him and Bob.
Mikey has already talked to Golden Boy. We've sat in Golden Boy's office about possible fights. We've also talked to Bob Arum.
Bob says he has a great relationship with you.
Yes, we do. I've been in his office. I have fighters that fight for top rank. Mikey has sat with Todd DeBoff not too long ago about boxing, about their careers, you know, about just different things, and Mikey could do it. You know, he's probably the only one that could do it. Mikey has sat with Eddie Hearn many times. Eddie Hearn has made Mikey huge offers, but Mikey's happy where he's at right now, and because this is where the fights that he wants, this is where they have him.
Is this the biggest fight that I mean, obviously you cornered Brandon Rios against Pacquiao. He wasn't given much of a shot, but is this for you your biggest challenge as a trainer?
Well, look, only because it's my brother. You know, Mikey, my brother, and being the family all involved, it makes a big difference. But, you know, going in there against Mayweather with Maidana 2 times in a row, that was huge, that was big. But obviously, being that it's my brother, it has to be something special.
What was the point when Mikey first started talking about Errol Spence being the guy, and you were a little bit hesitant? How did he change your mind?
Right when we were watching the Spence Peterson fight, and after the fight, Mikey was watching. We were all watching the fight, and after the fight, Mikey gets up and says, "I'm gonna fight Errol Spence." And we're like, "Yeah, but when the time is right, you know, you're at lightweight right now." But he says, "No, I'm gonna fight him this year." This was last year. He wanted the fight in December, but obviously, the dates, whatever it was. It took 3-4 months for that fight to happen, but it's here, now it's here. He wanted that fight. He chose that fight, and now he's got it.
So a little bit of shades of when Leonard watched Hagler in that fight.
Look, I see those fights, and I've been watching those fights. I know why Leonard did it. Duran moved up in weight. Mosley moved up in weight. Pacquiao has moved up in weight. De La Hoya has challenged himself in different weight divisions. So it's not like it's something that's never happened. There's many fighters have done it. They're great fighters. Mikey wants to be great too. That's why he chose to do this.
One fight I haven't really heard thrown in that mix of a guy jumping 2 weights that I feel fits is Hopkins fighting Tarver. He jumped 2 weights to do that. Hopkins is a technically...
Obviously, there's been so many, and obviously, you mentioning Hopkins is probably one that I haven't even watched. I've watched every other fight every other fighter that's gone through that, but it's not something that's never happened. It's not something impossible. Mikey wants to do it. Mikey chose this fight for one reason, and that's to become a 5-division champion.
Pacquiao went from flyweight.
You know what I mean? So, like I'm saying, it's not like it's never happened before. Mikey's very, very talented. Mikey has great power. Mikey's very smart in the ring. Mikey could brawl if he needs to. You guys have never seen Mikey do that because he doesn't have to. But the better his opponent is, the more Mikey's going to show. And if it's exchanging or backing Errol Spence back, Mikey will do it. I have no doubt that Mikey's going to be the stronger man when the bell rings.
Do you think Mikey is a difficult guy for someone to prepare for because of his technical skills? It's hard to find guys that can use distance and ring generalship and footwork.
When they see Mikey on the outside, they don't think it's that hard. Because Mike's pretty basic, I've seen Mike in the gym, where, pretty basic. He does his job basic, but every single one of our sparring partners, every single one of the guys that Mikey has beaten in fights, the first thing they tell us after the fight is, and on the outside, we don't think it's going to be that hard. But once you're inside the ring with Mikey has something special that just can't figure him out. And if you find something if you figure something out on Mikey knows how to turn that around and make it even harder for you. Mikey has that special talent, and the fighters find out, the guys that spar him, they find out when they're in the ring. They don't know it until they're inside the ring with Mikey.
Last thing I want to ask you is, the winner of this fight is basically being positioned to be possibly the next pay-per-view star in boxing. Do you think Mikey's ready to take that on, to take that next level where, these are the kind of obligations he's going to have to deal with for every fight moving forward? Have you seen the way he's dealt with that and feel like he can handle this?
Mikey wants to be there. Mikey wants to be the one that could take pay-per-view to the next level. Obviously, it's not that easy anymore because of all the new apps and TV channels that are going around, paying a lot of money. Pay-per-view is not the same anymore. It's not the same. We got to be real. So it's not going to be easy. But if only one fighter is the one doing it, then it's a possibility. People are going to want to watch him fight. Just last year, the only one that's able to do that is Canelo, and his numbers were still doing great. Now he's with his own, so his fights are not on pay-per-view anymore. So now there is room for one pay-per-view guy, and this could be Mikey.